Hello and welcome, Exiles, to the third update to the Spirit Walker Beastmaster. Today we're going to start out with a showcase of fighting the Ritual Pinnacle boss, the Bodak, and then I'm going to go over some things I tried, experimented with yesterday, including basically the Sylvan Scepter, using this weapon as a cheap, solid upgrade that actually is technically, I believe, slightly better than Trench Timber. But let's go ahead and get into this fight for the Pinnacle of Ritual showcase. The characters, I think highest point for this character is bossing, to be honest. Watching the monkey go and give a powerful slam and watching the entire HP bar of the boss disappear. That being said, I've heard this fight can bug out, and it seemed a little bit questionable when I did it the first time, where it was just constant degen. But we'll see how this goes. I think it should be interesting. This fight I definitely like. I don't really know exactly what's going on. This is the second time I'm doing it. Obviously, I did the quest version. Okay. Some interesting lore with Solaris and Lunaris going on, I think. And apparently a third sister that I never heard about before this time. I think we just have to stay on the grass.
You will be destroyed, beast.
Okay. We can fight him now? Alright. Let's see if we can target him. Alright. 1 slam for 4 mil. 7 mil. Give me 1 more slam. Finish him off. And he missed. I swear he missed. There we go. So I guess the pinnacle version of this boss is about 17 mil HP. I still don't really know what the hell's going on with the mechanics. But yeah, that's what the Bodag fight looks like. Doing that boss. And let's go ahead and talk about what we've done to the character to improve it defensively, offensively, and some of the things we tested and tried out on the character. So number one is I tried out the Sylvan Scepter yesterday. I actually liked it quite a bit because it was more of like a companion army. The clear was better. The biggest reason I swapped back is it's really, really buggy with weapon swaps. What I mean by that is partway through yesterday, I would swap weapons and I'd notice, oh, my Quadrilla is gone, and it wouldn't be able to resummon. I'd switch zones, and then eventually I'd get it to resummon, and like there were situations where certain companions would just desummon. The spirit reservations would keep changing to like random amounts that didn't make sense. It wasn't consistent, and it was just driving me crazy. So that's why I ended up swapping back. But Sylvan's was very nice in terms of you have a more army, full clear. You can kind of AFK and chill, and you have a bunch of different things going on, attacking different stuff, and it worked pretty well in that regard. But the bugginess of the spirits, spirit reservations, randomly losing certain companions and stuff was driving me crazy. I was trying it out with the chest that gives you Spirit Vessel, which allows you to attach some Druid skills, and it would do like Wyvern skills or Wolf skills or Bear skills, and that was pretty solid. You can check out the VODs from yesterday if you're curious. I enjoyed it, but it was frustrating me that it was bugging out. So maybe if they patch that in the future, we'll look into doing that maybe later if they fix the bugginess of weapon swaps, like randomly having companions just be summonable for the rest of the map. Number two is we tried out Tech Rods with the monkey. This is solid, I think, if you can get a Burrower Haste companion. The reason being is you really need companions that are consistently alive in order for the monkey to consistently survive 20 seconds. You can check out Darth Microtransactions' video about it. But for my testing, unless you have consistently minions that aren't dying, like the Burrower, because he's underground, he's not getting hit much. The thing about those extra minions is they brick the 20-second duration of Soul Eater that you'd get from Tech Rod's Revenge. So I personally didn't like it because it was super inconsistent a lot of the time, just because I didn't have the Haste Burrower companion. If you do a lot more searching around for that, I think it can work out decently because he's just underground the whole time and he doesn't really die. But when you have companions that can randomly die, like the boar or these skeletons, it doesn't work out great, and it limits your single target viability a bit more in terms of like bossing when you don't have the soul eater stacks, that is. So yeah, those were two of the things I was trying out, testing out. I liked them somewhat. There were some issues here and there. Ultimately, I think I'm just going to stick with the consistency of having a big, high-level HP dude that isn't dying on me and having to revive. The other problem is you needed a bunch of runic ward, which is a bit more iffy to get. So if you're curious about the Soul Eater stuff, definitely check out Darth microtransaction setup. I wasn't particularly enjoying having the inconsistency of the monkey not have power a lot of the times I was fighting. So yeah, those are two of the things we tried out. Another thing I want to showcase is if you're just looking for a cheapo upgrade, I got a bunch of questions about this, and I just tried it out because somebody's like, hey, did you know you can double upgrade Tyranny's Grip? This weapon, because it's so low level, can actually be upgraded twice. So I upgrade it once, it goes to this 100 to 160, and then I upgrade it a second time, and all of a sudden it becomes a 200 to 300 weapon. You put quality on it, goes 300 to 500. It's actually technically slightly higher damage than Trench Timber. I swapped back to Trench Timber because I was getting drove insane from people asking me, what's the spear? And the reason I was getting driven insane by that is because, at least yesterday, Mobalytics did not have support for rune, like, forged items. So when I would try to, like, import the spear, it would have an error thrown at me. And so I could only showcase the level, like, 1 version of the spear, and I didn't know if that would communicate very well that you had to upgrade it twice. It was, from my checking on Tooltip, like 10% better than a Trench Timber. Ultimately, pretty similar power level. You can do either or. Later on, I think we might end up trying out a Chober Chamber with a +4 minion corruption outcome. I think that could be pretty decent, so I'm going to consider that potentially. We'll see. Give me some time to try out different things, and that might be on the agenda to look into. So yeah, that is the updates on the various things we tried. As for where we're at right now, defensively and offensively, we finally have gotten our 4th lab, which allows us to get a bunch of percent damage. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 idols right now, which gives 90% damage and some reservation efficiency. And what we're doing here is allowing us to fit a little bit more reservation space so we can use Ghost Dance, which works really well with evasion to give you recovery. Before you get Mage Blood, you'll probably be more around 10k evasion, 8k deflection, something like that. That's what I was before the Mage Blood. But after Mage Blood, going for Stibnite Jade, this has felt very good. And I think even on 10k evasion, Ghost Dance would feel pretty good to give you a nice like 200 ES regen whenever you're getting hit. I think would feel pretty dang good. And I could recommend that defensively. Another thing here I want to note is before you get Idolatry, before you can afford the minus res or can afford the idols to make it work, just go with like 2% movement speed plus 10 spirit. That's what I was doing for forever, and I did that for a lot of my boss fights, and it worked pretty well. Another thing I want to point out is on the idols, some of them just aren't very good, and you're using them just because they have some percent damage and some reservation efficiency. For example, martial idols, the only ones we have are +1 poison and one that gives -20 all res and gain 20 for myself. So it's basically just not useful at all. There's no idols useful for the weapon slot. There's some useful idols on the glove slot. There's one that gives like permanent onslaught to your companions, but it was a bit more expensive than I could afford. It was like 20 divines at the time. I didn't have the currency for it, but that's one I'd probably recommend. Reservation efficiency or percent companion life or minion life. Ultimately, reservation efficiency you should do if you're just really on the edge of being able to reserve something or not. And then we have, again, the boot idol isn't great. Probably going to end up going for like movement speed or one of the better runes here. If we go for a Chober Chamber to fit the attributes, I may also consider the Alder's Legacy. There's one for like 50 all attributes, which might make supporting Chober Chamber +4 main hand more than anything else here, which would be pretty dang strong in terms of damage. Another thing you'll notice is right now I'm running an Andarius and Various. This is part of the reason I have Warriors Invictus, is I just wanted to force some extra rarity, get some extra loot while farming, and I think if I go to my default attack, I'm pretty sure rarity works with minions, but we're up to 160 rarity, which is basically just helping us find more loot as we play the game. And the way I was able to force this in was by going for an all res Warriors plus all attributes. and that allowed me to have enough res to afford the minus res from this ring and go for a bunch of rarity. After all of that, one highlight I want to say is the Fox Idol. This thing gives you 5 quality to all your skills, and then it lets all your other idols and all your other stuff socket in your body armor give the bonded mods, which is pretty neat. So I can recommend that highly. And yeah, that's the current situation with the character. We made a +4 scepter, and I would anoint gigantic and probably cut down on some of my reservation, maybe get rid of one of the skeletons, or I would anoint the rage sustain one and get back a support gem on all my dudes. The problem is right now, in order for me to anoint an item, I need to access the withered willow, and my withered willow has been inaccessible for the past 4 days since I first did delirium. So hopefully GG fixes the delirium bug. I'm imagining a lot of people are experiencing this with delirium, where whenever you get a grand mirror, it just crashes your instance and you lose the completion of the map. And on top of that, you maybe can't access the Wither Willow. I have both of those issues, so delirium is pretty much hard lock for me to be able to do right now. But yeah, I do recommend going for like gigantic, or you can go for this node right here. This one, movement speed, attack speed, movement speed. This is a pretty high QOL one. If you want the monkey to do more slams, you could go for growing swarm for CDR and AoE. But yeah, that's the current stuff. I'm going to try to import this current setup into PoB, and hopefully it doesn't throw me any errors. I've had quite a few errors thrown when trying to import stuff to PoB. So hopefully I can get that and we can have the most updated version of the character, which right now we're just trying to do all the Pinnacle versions of the boss with this current setup. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the current update on the character, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, Exiles.